It's the Takeover. It's the Takeover right here on the award-winning CBJ radio. We're always bringing you the coolest artists on Wednesday night, and tonight's no different. Florida hard rock band Grin Cynic. They were formed in the 90s, had some ups and downs, disbanded in 2000, but singer, songwriter, guitarist Mike Lee felt the urge to reform the band, has a new lineup, and they just dropped a self-titled album along with a brand new single called Let Me Go that is out now. We're stoked to have Mike Lee on the show. First, Mike, thanks so much for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Well, man, your story, holy cow, talk about the ups and downs of music. You have success in the 90s. Now, did the band start in New York?
Band started actually in Orlando, Florida.
Okay, so you've been in Florida the whole time because you had a bunch of success in New York. You guys were on the Howard Stern show. You played CBGBs, but then you broke up. So what got the urge to bring it back?
So I was actually headed into the studio about 4 years ago just to work on some solo stuff and got a really disturbing phone call from a friend of mine that the original singer for Grin Cynic back in the 90s suffered a stroke. And he and I, we've talked a lot. We kept in touch. And so I called him up and we chatted for a little bit. He lived in Daytona Beach. So I actually drove up and saw him, and yeah, he wasn't doing that great. And really, what he wanted to see, he goes, we started this band together back in the day. We have some really good songs. We've written some really cool riffs. You need to keep this band alive. You need to keep these songs alive. And go back maybe into the studio and record some of the stuff that we really wanted to do. So I kind of shifted my focus from doing some of the solo stuff more into recreating some of the old Grin Cynic songs from back in the 90s and then recording some of the stuff that didn't ever make it to the album. And that was like kind of his one wish, for himself and for me. He's like, just keep things going, keep that name going, keep those songs going. So unfortunately in 2020 he passed away. And I've been rocking ever since he passed away. He did have the opportunity to hear some of the songs, which was good, that we recorded. And right now we're just going a million miles an hour and recorded the album, gonna do some touring and get back in the studio and record some more. So it's been quite the interesting journey.
Yeah, it has been the journey. Yeah, the original singer Mark, he passes away, but one cool thing, he left you with like a book of poems or songs?
Yeah. So that was really cool. So at his funeral, his wife came up to me and she said, here's a book of a lot of his poems that he wrote, and a lot of words and a lot of stuff that we just found, and I'd like for you to have it. I was like, wow, this is awesome. Mark was an amazing lyricist, and just to get into his head and understand what was going on there was quite interesting. So our singer now, James, and I, I've been working with him for the last 5 years. We took a lot of those like bits and pieces of Mark's poems and incorporated a lot of the words into a lot of the songs to give that extra value to the songs. And the words that he wrote were just incredible. So we wanted to incorporate a lot of that into the new music.
Kind of a little tribute to Mark as well, or keep his legacy alive in the band. Well, and you mentioned James, your new frontman, or your current frontman. It's an interesting story how he got in the band, because what was he producing some of your stuff?
Yeah. No, that's really interesting. It's when the stars are aligned, they are aligned. And to make a real long story short, about 5 years ago, I don't know if he responded to an ad or I responded to an ad or something, or we got hooked up some way. He had a really popular band here in South Florida. They were touring. They were touring Europe. They got rid of their guitar player, and he wanted me to play guitar for him. And great music, great bunch of guys, love them all. Music was awesome, but just something said to me, do your own thing, do your own thing. Keep what Mark wants. Go on your path. And I told James, I said, look, I love your music and everything, but I want to do my own thing. Can you produce it? Because he's a producer as well, and write with me. And we started writing together, and we just clicked immediately. And then I tried to get him in my band, as he's trying to get me into his band. It was really interesting. And I kept saying, and he kept saying, I want to do my band. And then, a couple of years later, the stars were aligned, and he gave me, we always kept in touch, because he's producing and writing with me. And he says, I'm ready. I said, let's go. Here's the address. We're rehearsing tonight, by the way.
Wow.
And no need to learn the songs, since you helped write most of it. I'm sure you remember it all. So just bring what you need, and let's rock. And the rest is history.
Yeah, because you did a single Fly Away in like 2020, and that's when you were fronting the band, right?
Yeah. So that was like a 5-song EP. That was like a real dedication to Mark, and I did everything on that CD aside from playing the drums. Fly High, and we did a video for that as well. And it was cool. And we did a lot of shows with me fronting the band and playing guitar. It's just, I knew James was meant to be in this project.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned the songs have been around a little while, because I saw a video in 2021. You guys were performing Fearless live.
Yeah.
I mean, so you and James have been writing for a while.
Yeah, we've been writing since 2018, 2017, somewhere around there. 2019.
And the crazy thing with the new album, James, you recorded all the vocals first.
I did. Yeah. And then James came. Yeah. Then once he pulled the trigger and gave us a thumbs up, we went back in the studio and re-recorded him with him singing everything.
Yeah. Well, we're chatting with Mike from Grin Cynic. Go check him out. The new self-titled album, along with the single Let It Go, is out now. Well, your album release show, holy cow, you couldn't do better than this. You had Don Jamieson emceeing this thing. He was hosting this.
Yeah, that was some good times. Yeah, Don's a fellow Northerner like myself. He's from Jersey. I'm from New York. We get along great. What better person to have from that metal show to host a hard rock CD release party? And we went up there. He's a funny guy too. He's great. And we had a great show. Also, it was such a good time. I want to thank everyone who came out to that show, and all the fans and everyone who helped put it together. It was a pretty big production, but it was so much fun, and we can't wait to get on the road and release it all to the masses.
Yeah. Well, you guys, who played with you that show? Like a Black Sabbath cover band?
Yeah, so they're called War Pigs. They have they're from South Florida, and it's Dave Spitz, who played with the real Black Sabbath back in the 80s. I believe it was with Ronnie James Dio.
Okay.
So it was really cool to have him. And we became really good friends. He lives, not too far from me. And, they opened up the show and played some killer Black Sabbath songs, and warmed up the crowd and warmed them up really well. And then, we hit the stage, and, it was just a really, really good time.
You guys have played with a couple different like tribute or cover. I mean, isn't it crazy how like these tribute bands are huge right now?
They are huge right now. Yes. We just played with Zoso, the Led Zeppelin Experience. Yeah, that was and we played at it was like 500-600 people or 1,000 people. And I was like, wow. And then down here in South Florida, there's a nice room called Revolution, and they have they had an Alice in Chains and a Soundgarden tribute band, and they just packed the place, and it was such a great show. And when they Linkin Park ones, I'm like, wow, this I'm in the wrong industry. I gotta get into the tribute band stuff,
Oh, it's insane. It's huge. I mean, I'm in Wyoming and Denver, Colorado. It's huge right now too. There's all kinds of tribute bands for different. Yeah, there's a Jane's Addiction. There's a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, I'm in Wyoming, Mike. Is this a Florida cowboy hat? What's the hat that you wear on stage?
Yeah, so that's just kind of like a Florida cowboy hat that I got that years and years ago. Someone, actually a fan, gave it to me, and I was playing a show, and I put it on like right in the middle of the show, and I was like, oh, this works, and I like, all right, this will be my look for now.
Well, is it leather? It's a pretty cool looking
It
hat.
is. Yeah, it's a leather hat. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Gets a little bit hot on stage, but hey, that comes with the job.
exactly. That's the rock and roll lifestyle. What
Yeah, man.
what's this studio you guys have? Where the hell is this? This looks pretty nice.
Yeah, so we have a studio in South Florida in Palm Beach. I actually built it about a year and a half ago, about a year ago, and it's a recording studio and a live rehearsal studio. The studio is also, we can host, not a lot of people, but we have people that come in there and check us out. We do a lot of our promotions there, such as, filming for social media, video stuff, interviews. I'm not in it today. I will be in it tonight. But yeah, it's a really cool studio just because we need the room. We like to rehearse as we are playing live on stage. So we have a lot of equipment. I'm running 3 guitar rigs, at 800 watts in this place. So it gets really loud in there, and we like to have a nice sized room to rehearse our show, because that's what we really pride ourselves on, is our stage show as well as the music. We put on a really, strong, energetic performance, and that's, kind of what separates us a little bit from other bands out there.
Yeah, it looks awesome. Well, since Fly High, it seems like your tattoos have multiplied. When was the last time
Yeah,
you got a tattoo?
What's that?
Are both arms completely done now?
Yeah, almost. Yeah,
Wow.
missing a little bit right there, but we'll get them all done. Yeah, I got some Led Zeppelin.
Sweet. Well, that's good. You started late, so they'll look better when you're 80.
Absolutely.
And everything I see, you either have the beard or the goatee. When was the last time you were completely clean shaven?
Oh, wow. Probably like 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's happened, but not too
It's
recently.
happened. Yeah, it's happened. When I back in the day, and for work, when I had to do a couple of things and meet some folks, some of them don't like the rock and roll look, so you put some long sleeves on, and you know,
Yeah, cleaned up a
you
little.
get clean shaven all around. So yeah, sometimes you have to do that. Luckily, I don't have to do that anymore, which is good. I can kind of look the way I want to look.
Yeah. Well, you guys are going out with Gilby Clarke, the former guitarist from GNR. This is cool.
Yeah, that's a really cool little Florida tour that we're doing in September. We're hitting Orlando, Clearwater, Fort Myers, Fort Lauderdale, and I believe there's one more that they're getting us on in Daytona or something like that. So yeah, it's really exciting to be able to go out with him. Guns N' Roses, and self-explanatory. So yeah, we're direct openers for Gilby for those 4 or 5 dates that are right in Florida. So we're going to be hitting the whole state. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be really fun.
Yeah, that'll be sweet. And Gilby's got some cool solo stuff, so
Yeah, he does. Yeah, absolutely.
that'll be cool. And then you're playing Boca Raton on July 25th at Crazy Uncle Mike's.
Crazy Uncle Mike's. Yeah. That's an interesting place. That's they started out as just like a restaurant bar with kind of like an acoustic guitar player, and then they built this badass stage with a light system and sound system, and they really made it into a nice venue to have dinner and eat and drinks and listen to a killer band, so and listen to bands that, with a full sound show and a full sound and a light show, and everything. So yeah, and for me it's not too far from my house, which is great. So I've been down there and food's great, so I definitely recommend that. Great drinks, great staff. And yeah, if you're in the South Florida area, yeah, I think it's Friday, July 26th or 25th, in Boca Raton at Crazy Uncle Mike's. We're going to be we're headlining the show. It's kind of like almost another little CD release party for the southern part of Florida. We'll be playing for about an hour and a half. We're going to play the whole album. We'll break out some of the older stuff from Resurrection, maybe throw in some interesting cover songs too, redo them. So yeah, I look forward to seeing everyone out there.
Yeah, if you go to their social media, Facebook, Instagram, you can see where all their stuff, their dates right there. Also, the self-titled album is out along with Let It Go. Well, let's talk about the album for a minute. Walk the Fire. I like this song. What's this song about?
Whoa, that's another story. That song is about, hey, really about never looking back and always moving forward in life. James and I have gone through a lot of the same stuff personally in our lives, and we actually just went through something together, and that was just really weird relationship wise. And we said, dude, man, we got to start writing because we got a lot of stuff to say. And we have a lot of similar stories. So that's where, the album, was written based on, James and my experiences over the last couple of years, and it's just very interesting how our stories are very similar with each other. And now we're sharing that whole experience, with the world. So, Walk the Fire, and Let Me Go is, they're kind of about, just not taking no for an answer, doing what you need to do, living your life the way you want to live your life, taking care of yourself first before you can take care of others, and just, going forward. So, yeah, all the songs, they have some really interesting meanings to them.
Yeah, are we going to have a video for Let Me Go?
We are working on that as we speak.
Well, it's got to be cool because this has been out for a while, but it's climbing up the charts.
Yeah, it sure is. Yep.
Yeah, so that's got to make you feel like something's working.
That something is working.
Yeah. And the best title on the album is Ugly Meg. Is this a dig or what is this?
No, this is funny. So I'm on the phone with James, and we're actually just talking about this song. The way we write, I'll come up with a couple of guitar riffs, and I'll text it to him or I'll email it to him. So he calls me up one night, and I'm watching television. I'm watching this show about restoring old Harley Davidsons. I love Harleys. I love riding motorcycles. It's like one of my other passions in life. And they're restoring these old bikes. And I'm talking to James on the phone, and we're going through the song. And, he's like, all right, what do you think of, this for a chorus? What do you think of this? And I go, he goes, what do you think? What should we name the song? I go, let's name the song Ugly Meg. And he's like, well, where did you come up with that? I go, I'm watching a show right now about restoring old Harley Davidsons, and there's a motorcycle on the show, and on the gas tank, it said Ugly Meg. And it was the ugliest looking bike, and that's why they're restoring it. And there was the whole show on Ugly Meg, restoring this old Harley Davidson. So I'm like, let's write a song about that. Wow. So if you listen to the lyrics of Ugly Meg, it's all about a motorcycle. It's funny because we go on stage and hey, it's Ugly Meg, and it's really about a motorcycle. It's not about a bitch.
That's hilarious. That's great. That's a good story. Well, my dad lived in New Smyrna Beach. I rode a motorcycle one summer when I was like in college. 30 years ago. But how is it riding a motorcycle in Florida? Because you're battling the weather, you're battling all the old people. You got to watch out.
Yeah. So it took a lot of time when I moved to Florida from New York to actually get on a motorcycle here, because you're absolutely right. Between the weather and the old people, it's more defensive riding than offensive riding.
Yeah.
And, you just got to be really careful. But I'm like, well, you know what? I'm not going to let the weather and these old people, take away something that I really enjoy doing. So, yeah. And plus, it's 105 degrees out and you're on a bike, it's only hot when you stop. That's like the slogan, right? But when you do stop and it's 105 degrees out, and you got the heat coming up from the bike, and then you got the heat coming up from the pavement, right? And you got all your gear on. It's fucking just sweating like fucking crazy. But it's definitely interesting because there is a lot of bikes down here. There's more of the crotch rockets, and they're flying up and down the highways, which I kind of avoid. We do have some nice, pretty roads in Central Florida, not so much here in Palm Beach and down south in Fort Lauderdale, where the drivers are insane and I don't even go near them. So what I typically do, Jeff, is I'll go out to A1A, which is right on, it's our coastline of our beach, and on a nice Sunday morning, it's where a lot of the people go and ride bikes, and I'll just cruise 35, 40 miles an hour up and down the coast. And it's just like the Pacific Coast Highway. And that'll give me my satisfaction.
Yeah, that's cool though. But yeah, it's great weather, except till it starts downpouring on you. And then you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, oh yeah. And believe me, man, I go, because Daytona is, I don't know, 3.5 hours from here. So I go up there a lot and I do the bike weeks up there. And I've got caught in the rain many, many, many times. And it's not fun, especially when you're on the highway and you get the fucking 18-wheelers blowing past you at 90 miles an hour and spraying, water all over you. And you're just trying to fight through it all. It is what it is. Just got to be careful.
That's for sure. The album cover, that's cool. A little tribute to Mark.
That is actually a tribute to me and James in a way.
Oh.
Yeah. So that the album cover represents freedom.
Okay.
If you look at it, you just see the boots there with the chains tied around it, but there's no feet. There's nobody inside of those boots. That person has jumped out of those boots and is now free.
Nice. Well, be free. Go and listen to Grin Cynic. The self-titled album is now. Let Me Go. And the video is coming. Do we have any time frame?
Yeah, we're looking at probably the first or second week of August that we're going to drop that video.
Okay. Because we need another single.
Yeah, we're absolutely.
Got to keep the ball rolling. Got to keep the motorcycle going down the highway. Well, Mike, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Jeff. Appreciate it.
It's Let Me Go. It's Grin Cynic. It's a takeover. CBJRadio.com.
See ya.